Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus-Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus-Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in the South and our online audience tuning in. Thanks to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Well, if you guys are looking to make the most out of your life, to be able to maybe change things up for yourself, I think our next guest is a great example for you. We're excited to welcome Parker Excel to our program. Many people have gotten to know him as a lifestyle and entertainment expert. He's also the host and star of My Big Excel Life, and an individual who's been able to now to be able to show what it's like for him as an entrepreneur to be able to build his own brand as well. We're going to talk to Parker not only about his journey, but also what it's been like for him to be an inspiration for others, to show them what's possible, and maybe give you guys some tips on how you can make the most of each and every day as well. Parker Excel, thank you so much for the time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be on the show today.
Hey, the pleasure's definitely all mine. So, look, 2021 is here, Parker. I know that you, like the rest of us, had to make adjustments for 2020. But I want to talk about the reflection for your journey and what you've been able to achieve. What has it been like for you to have been able to discover what your own passion in life is and to be able to literally share that with the world?
Yeah, well, you know what? Honestly, with this 2020, with 2020, I think there is a silver lining in the overall experience and what we're going through. I think for me, I do a lot of consulting work with a lot of brands and a lot of projects. And so I constantly would put my own passion projects on the back burner just to work on these big projects with these big companies and big brands and up-and-coming people, and I think with what 2020 gave us, a lot of things just, shut down, a lot of things changed, and that kind of forced me to kind of put more energy into my own passion projects, which I'm glad that I'm doing, because I would forever be in that excuse mode of, I'm going to get to it, at this stage. I'm going to get to it at this stage. And so, I think there was really a silver lining in the 2020, pandemic that we're still kind of in right now, in the first of 2021. So I think that I have a lifestyle brand that, I really wanted to cultivate more. And so I've been able to do that. I've been able to work more closely with my sample makers, more closely with, the manufacturers that I use. And I've been able to really, really be a lot more hands-on because I never want to be a person that just puts my name on a product and sell it. I want to actually know that the product is quality. I want to know, where the product, is sourced at, how it's developed and everything else in between. And so, with this, past year, I've been able to really do that. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about, 2021 and what it has to show us, when it gets to the end of this whole pandemic.
Yeah. Well, Parker, I noticed when I was prepping for this segment with you, one of the things you've been able to do is not only, of course, give us an idea of what your life is like. We're going to get more into My Big Excel Life and how that came about. But I want to talk about how you were able to share these tips with others. I introduced you as a lifestyle entertainment expert. When did you first discover those passions? Because I think there are some people, especially as we're beginning a new year, they're kind of saying, I have an interest in something. I have something that I like. I would like to be able to share that, but I don't know how to do it. How did you get to a place where you realized what your interests were and then were able to find the platform to share it?
Well, yeah, I think it's one of those things that just comes very, very natural. I think as people, we're always changing, like our interests always change. But for me, what happened was that working with so many different brands and working with so many different people, I worked a lot in the tech space, I've worked a lot in the beauty space, I've worked a lot in the fashion space. And I'm always like a curious George, so I always like to learn. And so when I'm on set or if I'm in a meeting and I meet someone or if I'm at a networking event and they do this or they do that, I'm always, if I do get intrigued, I'm like, I want to learn more. And then I dive in. I'll ask them, like, hey, can I shadow you for a day or two? Like, your career, path really, inspires me. I'm just curious to know more about it. And, through that, you pick up more tips and tricks and things like that that you just kind of use, and you kind of just add it into your database of just knowledgeable tricks and tips. And it got to a point where I also travel a lot, and it got to a point where a lot of people would just reach out to me like, hey, do you know where I could, find this at? Or, hey, what's a good place to travel that, my money can go far? Or, hey, my son's, needing a scholarship, da-da-da-da. Do you know any programs? And it got to that point where it was I was kind of like the voice for, little things throughout, life. And so I kind of, just took that and ran with it. And so, yeah, I think with anyone that's trying to do something, go towards the line of the least resistance. And I would say that if you have a passion in something, definitely, play with it, develop it, and be the best at it, no matter what it is. If it's something just as simple as knitting a blanket or whatever it may be, or, drawing a painting, if that's something that's your passion and you have fun doing it, learn about all those mediums, learn about the different types of yarn, learn about the different types of paint, learn about the different types of canvases, really, really learn and dive into it. And then naturally, organically, you will become a knowledge base. You will have a knowledge base that people will then start to ask you for, tips on whatever it is that you're talking about. And then that way you can start sharing those tips, and then it just starts to naturally grow when you start putting it out on social media.
Right. So, such a good point. And we're going to definitely get more into how you're able to showcase that personally for yourself, Parker, through your own series. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, though, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Parker Excel to our program today. We're talking to him not only about his journey as a lifestyle entertainment expert, but also what it's been like for him as an entrepreneur as well to be able to build his own brand and to share that with other people. So, you're telling us what our audience can do, Parker. How did you get the idea to be able to kind of take us into your own life with My Big Excel Life to show us your own experiences?
Yeah, so, I have a very, I've been blessed, to have a very, very, and it has not always been easy life, but I've been blessed to have a very, very, very interesting life. I've been able to experience lots of different things on the high end and the low end. And I feel like that really is great because it really has made me a very rounded person when it comes to empathy and also just life experiences. And so there's a lot of people that know me for when I used to work with musicians. I used to work with Lizzo. I worked with her for a few years. And then I also worked with J Balvin. And then I also had worked with other, other independent artists that, that's how my audience had found me because I did creative directing for them and styling and some other things. And I was doing this all while I was in school. And in the midst of that also I had launched a magazine, and the magazine had became really successful in the Midwest. And so a lot of people know me for that, but they don't really know what I do. They just know that they see me with these people. They see me out doing stuff with them. They just don't know what is it that you actually do? So when it came to developing My Big XL Life, and it's still in development, every day, now it's on hold just because of COVID. I'm like, okay, what else will I show people on the show? Because, there's so many things that go on throughout the day-to-day of my life, and I only have a cinematographer with me for a couple hours, so it's so hard to really make sure that everyone sees everything. But what I wanted to do is really just show people what it's like in the day-to-day of my life. It could be any moment. I could be in Paris for Fashion Week, or I could be in a meeting with a tech company about their commercial that I'm going to help creative direct or develop. And so I just want to show people that everything is possible. I feel like, and I want to be a face of representation as well, because I think growing up, for me, there was not a lot of male black figures that were, able to do these things, that were able to travel, were able to be on TV shows and talk shows and do all these different things like that. So, and so I never thought that it was possible for me to do that because I just never saw it. So I think ultimately what I want to do is just be like a face of representation where it's like, hey, you know what? This guy can do it, so can I. And because I feel like at the end of the day, everything is possible for anyone. We just have to have the confidence to do it. And I think it's easier to have the confidence once you see someone else that you can relate to doing it.
That is a really good point, Parker. I want to go back to that though, because I mean, as you were just talking about, whether you're going to to Fashion Week or or in these meetings that you mentioned with tech companies or being able to do these things, it takes a lot of, I think, belief in oneself. Is that something you've always had, or is that something that has evolved as your journey has evolved?
No, it's not something that I've always had. I think I can, pay that to my business mentor. I can also pay it to just life experiences. And, growing up, I was always bullied, for whether it was my weight or if it was whether my skin color, because, where I grew, for the area that I grew up in. And so I think I had to experience those different things to really just show me oh, wow, those people were just setting me up and getting me ready for the bigger picture, because that is so minute to the real life and the real world that I live in now, especially with the type of personalities I deal with, that it really has helped me cultivate, a really nice self-esteem for myself and also just the confidence. So I think when it comes to confidence and really pushing yourself, I think you have to just always go into everything knowing that you're the best at it, even if you're not the best, because I tell people this all the time, confidence wins over talent. And there's a lot of people out there that are talented, but they don't have the confidence in themselves. They don't have the confidence in their music. They don't have the confidence in their writing or whatever it is that they're doing. And there's that person that is a newbie, but is confident as all outdoors and has no credentials at all, but they're going to go so much further. And I think that's even true, too, for the music industry. I feel like there's a lot of musicians that aren't that talented, in my opinion, but they're confident and they think that they're the best musician, right? And once you sell that confidence, other people will believe it, So if you're confident, everyone else will feed off that energy. I feel like we all feed off of energy, and if you have confident energy, people will know, oh, this person's confident. If you have insecure energy, people will know, okay, this person's insecure, they don't know what they're talking about, or this person isn't good at what they do.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to ask you, because I'm sure enough people ask you, Parker, how can I do what you do? But I am going to ask you for our audience, for those who are looking at what you're able to get done. I think productivity, I love that you mentioned that. I think it's something that everyone can benefit from. What advice do you normally give to people about how they can be more productive, how they can make the most of each day in this new year?
Yeah, so I think the best way to be productive is, and it's going to sound so cliche, but the best way to be productive is to just simply write down your day-to-day tasks that you want to accomplish, whether it's in your notes or if it's on an actual piece of paper. I think for me, I'm more of a traditional paper person, so I love doing it on paper. I like to write notes on paper because that way I can physically see it and hold it, and I can, put it places. But it is great to also have it in your phone for notes because you can look at it through the cloud. But just write down your notes and then try not to spread yourself thin. So sometimes we'll put 80 things on a list, right? I like to also subcategorize my stuff. So maybe one day I'll be like, okay, you know what? Monday will be the day that I handle all my personal stuff, going and paying all my bills, and I'll follow up with this, follow up with my doctor, all that stuff. That will be all handled on Monday. And then Tuesday I'm going to focus on this other project, as opposed to saying okay, Monday I'm going to give 20% to, focus on personal stuff, 30% to this client, and 30% to that client, and then, 20% to my project. I think it's best to just kind of subcategorize your list and then also just do it on a day-to-day basis as opposed to trying to spread it out for that entire day and mix all the categories in. I think that's the best thing with productivity. Another thing that's been really good for me actually was an Alexa. I got an Alexa Dot actually for about $30 in the Black Friday sale, and she's really changed my life. To be honest with you, I will just put notes and I'll have reminders set in there, and daily it'll just remind me oh, hey, do 30 push-ups. Hey, make sure you send off your emails. And every, Sunday I'll set it to say, hey, do laundry. Or every other Sunday I'll have it set to say, hey, do laundry. And just those little reminders out loud are good as well. So I would say, just writing down your things that you want to accomplish so you can physically see it and don't just store it in your brain is really a good trick for productivity. Also, using something like an Alexa. I know some people are a little paranoid when it comes to the privacy of the Alexas and stuff like that. But that's something that's been very, very helpful for me.
Got you. Well, last thing I want to ask you, Parker, and it goes to something that you mentioned when you mentioned about our audience and confidence in writing. We know that you have the show, My Big XL Life. Can we expect a book from Parker XL?
Yes, that's so funny that you're saying that you asked about that. Yeah, I actually have a book that I've been working on now for a couple years now, and it's really, really cool because it will touch base on a lot of different things. Like, each chapter will be a little different because, for me, growing up, I didn't go to like an etiquette school or anything like that. But, going to some of these events, like going to the Business of Fashion galas, where everyone, Naomi Campbell, every person that's big in the fashion entertainment industry is there. You're sitting at these really, really elegant dinners. These are things that I had never had experienced. And, the silverware, everything is laid out and, you're supposed to use the salad knife, you're supposed to use the salad fork. There's certain things that you're supposed to do. And so there's little different things that I've learned on my journey that I just want to share with other people where it's like etiquette, social etiquette is different from professional etiquette, and just networking skills and different things like that. So this book will have a little base on all of those things. And it'll pretty much give you like tips and hacks for every little part of your life. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about it, but I have been working on it for a couple years now, and I really don't want to rush it. I really want it to be something that someone can take and, have it for a lifetime, And so with me, as I get older, I get more knowledge, and I want to be able to put it into the book.
I get it. Well, we definitely look forward to that. Again, everyone, Parker XL has been our guest. Great conversation with you, Parker. We've been talking with him not only about his journey as a lifestyle and entertainment expert, but also as an entrepreneur and someone who's an example of what you can achieve if you're willing to do the hard work and also be able to do your part in making a difference. Parker, you're kind of, as far as your social media, you really kind of keep us updated, but you also have a website. How can our audience stay connected with you?
Yes, so you guys can check out www.parkerxl, that's like extra large, .com, and the website is completely, a lifestyle website. So we talk about a little bit of everything on there, and, you can subscribe to that for also, giveaways. I do giveaways as well. So if you're subscribed and opted in to my email list, you will get giveaways that I get from my partners. And, yeah, it's really cool. You can check out some of my lifestyle brand as well through my website, Parker XL, which is www.truthblack.com, and it's also connected to the website.
Yeah. Well, Parker, congratulations to you again. Excited to have you on with us and looking forward to our next conversation together.
Yes, likewise. Thank you so much, Cyrus. I really appreciate you having me on.
The pleasure is definitely all ours, and we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus-Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today, and let's go make today amazing. Take care.